Danger right here. Read Danger.
I seriously think, this is from Danger. I seriously think one reason why these people talk shit about Cavill is because they're intimidated by him. Successful, in shape, classy, and is a nerd. Complete opposite of them. Yeah, I'm pretty sure all of these people's personal feelings are in it. I'm positive of that. Well, see, here's the thing. My personal feelings only extend as far as good storytelling. What does that mean? That means that if Zack Snyder pulled up to the cut at WBD and said, I'm going to give you the goofiest Superman that ever lived, I'm not going to watch that shit.
We certainly wouldn't be on this podcast right now if that was the case.
We would not be on this podcast right now talking about this if that was Zack Snyder's stick. If it were James Gunn, that was the serious one, that had the serious tone and was serious about telling adult stories, in a parallel universe, it would be James Gunn that we're talking about championing and not Zack Snyder. So let me make that perfectly clear. Coming out of my mouth. Fatal J made a comment about the suit, saying that if Cavill wore the suit, we'd be all up in arms about it. No, we wouldn't like that shit either.
I wouldn't like the suit. It doesn't define Cavill. Cavill would lose all his definition.
Exactly. So no disrespect, Fatal J, but no. Even if Snyder designed that suit and had Cavill step in it, not even if Jesus came down from heaven and said, come on, guys, give it a chance, I still would say no. There is absolutely no way in hell y'all think that the Cavill suit is not superior to a suit that took nothing to design, that was based off of look like a Star-Lord costume from Guardians of the Galaxy, and you're trying to tell me that that's not where this man is going?
Real quick, Charles, Dennis Medina, Dennis Medina. These people obsess over Superman 78, yet reject the thought process of originality that made that movie work.
1 second, hold on. I was just...
You're stuck in your feelings way worse than we are, and you're stuck in the past. That's the problem.
Where's Dennis here? Oh, here it is. All right.
Shout out to Dennis Medina.
They reject the thought
Superman
process of originality.
You reject it. You call yourselves loving the story and love storytelling. How? Explain to me how you love storytelling when your storytelling is limited to a one-dimensional Superman in a box that you won't let out because you're afraid of him becoming something else, or you're afraid of exploring the side of Superman that, by the way, in all intents and purposes, he did grow up on Earth, so technically that would make him human. He doesn't have any real traits of a Kryptonian if you actually think about that. So,
mind you, the Kryptonians who have trained all their lives to do what they did.
Where do you think hope and optimism comes from? You think that hope and optimism comes from, hey, you show me hope and optimism? If he's the one that's got to show you hope and optimism, then he's got to go through what you've gone through and then become that beacon. It doesn't just, hope and optimism doesn't just fall out of the sky.
It's a journey that the character needs to go on.
What do you guys think the actual definition of hope is? What is hope? Anybody know? Right without looking it up, anybody can tell me what hope is.
It's to me, it's that feeling of inspiration to do better or to attain better. You know, that's the best way I could put it.
Hope is having the attitude and the seriousness and the feeling and the emotion that even though things are not the way you want them to be, they will someday turn out right. That's what the smile comes from.
Love it, Charles.
That's hope.
It's almost like to get to that smiling Superman, it has to be earned.
It
has to be earned.
You have to earn that. That's the point we're making here. Zack Snyder made a film about an alien who crashed on our planet, was sent to our planet, and had to go through what we go through in order to use that side of him to show us there's a better way. That was the point of Man of Steel. Not to show you a quippy, Superman with his hands on his hips and all this other kind of shit. That was not the story Zack was telling with Man of Steel. If you knew that, we wouldn't be discussing this shit right now. He chose to deconstruct Superman's identity, where he's from, where he is, and where he's going in 5 movies. And you're trying to tell me you didn't want to wait for that? That would have been awesome to see.
It would have been
And at the end of it all, at the end of his 5-story arc, he flies up again, he flies over the world, and he does his thing like Christopher Reeves did, and it's done. There's your hopeful Superman. There's your Superman with all of the hope and optimism. Right there. We just wanted it told over 5 stories versus 1 fucking film. That's it. We're here because of that. Because you are children. Because you can't get out of 78. I managed to get out of 78. My life was hell. I'm black and I grew up in the hood. I managed to get out of 78. I managed to get out of the 80s. Why can't you?
I'm going to read Danger's comment real quick. Exactly. You can't force
read this one, and then we're going to move into the next topic. All right.
Exactly. You can't force people to feel hope, and it can't be artificial. It has to be authentic and something you originally feel and resonate with. These DCU Superman fans don't understand that. Thank you, Danger.
So, to closing, and we'll move on to the next subject. Yes, we are DC. Yes, we are DC fans. No, we don't want to see DC fail. We do want WBD to be taught a lesson, though.
Oh, they're going to learn it the hard way.
The absolute wrong shepherds for this IP. For this IP to be told the way it should be told. The stories to be told the way they should be told. I'm not saying that there's not characters in there that James Gunn can't grab, and Zaslav gives him his own pocket of the universe so he can tell his goofy ass stories. Of course, I'm not saying that, but don't take characters like Peacemaker, like Vigilante, like Judo Master, and make them goofy like that. Because guess what, guys? In the Peacemaker comics, none of them were like that.
Nope.
Especially Vigilante, bro. Pull up that GIF of Vigilante. Can you pull that up for me?
What do you want me to pull up a Vigilante? I'm sorry?
Remember the photo I sent you?
Oh, yes. Okay, hold on.
Yeah. Pull up those. Yeah. And then we'll move on. But I want to point something out here.
I got to do it from the drive. Hold on.
Okay.
Because it didn't load on the other way. Where is it? Okay.
DC talks cyber cells. Cyber cells.
Now, I want you to look at this picture. Pull up the other ones. Go and do the other ones. Go to the next one. Now, you get the point, and then I want you to show the last one in there.
This one's painful for me.
Ugh. Now, that is Mr. Jason Momoa, Art Curry's Aquaman, that Zack Snyder brought to prominence as a serious warrior, a serious character. This is from a movie that James Gunn said that was the best movie he's ever seen, the best Flash movie he's ever seen. That's the scene right there.
Let's also remind the audience that this was the scene that James Gunn himself inserted into this film.
But you're trying to convince us that WBD knows exactly what it has? Okay, this is the last thing I'm going to say about that, and then we can move on. If DC knew what it had, they wouldn't be sitting at $10.70 a share.
If DC knew what it had, James Gunn would not be at WB right now if they knew what they had.
If WBD knew what they had, there would not be a second Marvel person trying to destroy DC, a la Josh Whedon.
Oh,
don't get it twisted.
Before I forget. Robert Meyer Burnett, you're making it too easy for tonight. Look what he said.
What they have. If Warner Brothers knows what they have, they know what's good and what's not good. And I think that they're making. If Warner Brothers knows what they have, they know.
Look at this motherfucker. Warner Brothers knows what they have. They know what they have is good and not good. No, they don't. $10.70 a share. Explain it to me, Robert Meyer Burnett.
Right here, Robert. Here are the pennies. One stock.
Explain it to me. Make the financials make sense for WBD knowing what they have, and they're in the boat that they're in. 9 flops, bro. 9. I'm sorry. 10, 11. I lost count. You got Mickey 7 coming in now. This stuff is starting to bleed over to their actual movies that are not DC now. They're starting to fail at that because people don't trust them.
I think it's called Mickey 17.
Mickey 17. There we go. They don't trust WBD. So their comic book films are failing too. They don't trust them. There's a reason behind that, guys. We're not up here getting paid to do any of this stuff. We are here for one reason only. We want to see real, true adult storytelling the way Zack Snyder did it. He had the perfect universe lined up. We want his universe finished. That's our only reason for being here. If you don't like that, don't come on the threads. If you don't want to talk to us, don't show up. If you don't like what we're saying about Zack Snyder, don't come to the Lethal Geeks threads on X Twitter. Stay out of our threads. Seriously. Because I'm going to light your asses up every time you go in there. And by the way, if you're wondering who it is that's always talking shit, that's me. If you're wondering who it is, every time you see something on Twitter that the Lethal Geeks has put up, that's me. Look at my face. Cam the fuck up.
Wait.
Camera? I'm not hiding.
Is that him?
I'm not hiding. Who?
Is that you, Charles?
Who?
So you're the black guy on Twitter?
Yes.
Really?
Okay. So, okay. Look, the guy goes, but you're black. He's black.
He's black.
All the y'all that like to roll in my threads, talking that shit. Phil and Rocks don't do it. It's me. I'm the one that's doing that shit. Yep. So every time you roll in my threads and talk smack, I'm gonna cut you down and I'm just gonna block you. If you got something intelligent to say, something about film, movie, literature, TV, Shakespeare, all that good shit, I'm with you. Express your opinion. Say what you like about Gunn, what you like about Zack Snyder, what you don't. I don't care. As long as you're being respectful and you're in these threads, be respectful. Mm-hmm. But if you come in our threads talking shit, I'm gonna send you home back to your mama with your tail tucked between your legs. Have her pull out your titty, pull that titty out, suck that titty, and then you can get the fuck off my thread. Because I am too old for this shit. Literally. I don't have to be here for this. I'm here because I want to see this man's work finished. I'm here because this man was done wrong. I'm here because they use his family tragedy to move on and fuck up his universe. That's why we are here.
Here I was thinking that you were here because you just enjoyed my beautiful face.
So if you don't want us talking shit about Gunn and like us talking shit about Gunn, we have opinions about Gunn and we're gonna speak our shit. But we stand on principle here. We stand on truth. A man was done wrong. It needs to be made right. So we can all move on. And you never have to fucking see my face again. How would you like it if they did the same thing to James Gunn? How would you? Oh, by the way, he was righteously fired for the shit that he did. And believe it or not, back in 2011, 2012, I said, let that man finish his goddamn Guardians of Galaxy films. I said that shit.
And I did too.
And you know,
did this dude.
And you know what's funny, guys, is that chances are this exact same shit is going to happen to James Gunn. Once Superman fails, you guys think you're going to get more James Gunn DCU?
They are projecting. What does Sin Havoc say? They're projecting
$400 million loss.
Loss. Look at that. How can you defend that and say, "Oh, everything's fine"?
WB knows what they're doing. They know what's good. They know it's good.
They're worth $20 billion and they're upside down $40 billion in debt.
You see this all the time at the level of a top producer who, between them or separately, will make flop after flop after flop after flop. I'm not going to name them, but I know who they are. And they're not all American either. And they still get paid huge sums of money for being in films that nobody wants to see. And producers make pictures out of which they take enormous sums of money. And the films, again, are not films people want to see. They're always going to blame somebody else. Always. Not their fault. No, you were the one who said, or whatever. And there's a word for that. It's called upward failure. You see it all the time.
Boom. Right there. He said it in one line. You see it all the time. You are too busy trying to chase what everybody else is doing instead of creating originality based off of what your fucking studio was originally designed to do by those four Warner's brothers. You dropped the ball, especially with this DC IP. Give it to somebody else and let them handle it. That's it, because you can't fix it. You can't fix what you did. I would love for you to fix what you did.
Oh, that ship has sailed.
That ship is sailed now.
Sailed.
So DC, I love DC. So don't tell me I don't love DC.
Trust me, if we didn't love DC, we wouldn't be here right now, guys.
DC. Okay, I love DC. What I don't like is WBD and the idiots that run it. That's what I don't like. To see them fail, I'm ready for it. And let me tell you something. Come July 11th, 2025, Jurassic Park, probably the Fantastic Four, probably the Smurf movie, and a couple other ones that comes out right around that time. They are going to rain fire and brimstone at the box office.
And that stock in WBD is
that's going to happen.
Pennies.
Not one penny, guys. We are not going to spend our money to see a goofy ass Superman that is a reminiscent of his last three Guardians of the Galaxy film, his Suicide Squad film, his Peacemaker TV show, and his fucking Creature Commandos TV show. We are not going to spend our money on that bullshit.